Hi, welcome to Amber in the kitchen. We're back from holiday break. I wanted to show you guys how to make this really simple dessert, which is so good and actually relatively healthy. It just requires cocoa powder. You can get organic if you want. My sister prefers the Hershey's Dark Special, I think. It requires maple syrup right here. This is a half a cup of maple syrup. You're going to be using a half a cup of cocoa powder, and you're going to be using a half a cup of coconut oil. Now, I recently tried this with butter, a stick of butter instead of coconut oil. It did not turn out well. So I really recommend sticking with the coconut oil. For whatever reason, it just like works. It works. It's so nice. Okay, so and I also wanted to kind of Trojan horse you guys and show you how to measure like a solid fat ingredient without using a solid dry cup, measure cup. So what we are going to do today is use our syrup to measure our coconut oil. And how we're going to do that is we are going to add coconut oil until our syrup reaches the 8 ounce 1 cup mark on here. So this is volume displacement method of measuring, and it works really well for not so nice, messy, solid ingredients. So you can use this also with things like peanut butter. Because it's a pain to put it in here and you have to like scrape it out, and it can get very difficult to scrape the ingredient out of the dry cup, measuring cup. So let's get started. All right, I've got my coconut oil here. I'm going to kind of hold this up so you guys can see. Now this works fairly well as long as you can make sure everything gets under the liquid. Okay, and this is kind of tight because we've got our syrup at only a half a cup. So I'm going to say this is probably where we need to go because this is not fully submerged. And we are right there at that 1 cup line, aren't we? Yeah? Trying to like make sure all this is in there. Normally you would do this with a full cup of water in like a 2 cup measure cup. A full cup of water and then add your half cup of ingredient. So because this is sticking out the top, if I push it down, that makes it come up to our 1 cup mark. So I think we're done with measuring our coconut oil. We'll see how well this turns out, you guys. This is going to be a super simple recipe, really easy, but your friends will think you spent a long time on it. You add your syrup and your coconut oil to a saucepan. So I'm going to put that in. And you can use this to make truffles. It's a great truffle filling. So you can use this at the end. You can cut it into cubes and toss it with some powdered sugar and more cocoa powder to have like a French truffle type feeling. Or you can melt chocolate and ball this and dip it into the melted chocolate and let it get hard again. And that will make a really yummy, more of like a candy store truffle that you think of. So we are going to pick the right burner and put that on. So we are going to melt the coconut oil. Then we will add our cocoa powder, excuse me, cocoa and coconut goodness. All right, let's see if I can move the camera here so you can see. And I've got my prepared pan here, just with saran wrap, food grade, good quality saran wrap. We're going to pour our warm chocolate into there, and then we're going to refrigerate it when we're done. And this takes like, I don't know guys, like 5 minutes. It's really fast once you've got it measured out. So now if you don't want to do the volume displacement method for measuring your coconut oil, you can feel free to use your half cup measure cup. That works just fine. Okay, so this is getting like lumpy looking, but it's starting to melt. You can cook this a little bit longer to try and thicken the syrup up a bit before you add your hot cocoa. And I recommend kind of using a whisk, and when you add your cocoa powder, so that it doesn't get clumps throughout, and it just really comes together nicely. So hold on, we're almost there. Get hotter faster. I'm very impatient these days with cooking. I don't know why, but here we go. I hope you guys enjoy this recipe and use it. I've come across it because my little sister has had allergies, food allergies really badly, for a lot of different ingredients. And so at the peak of her struggles with that, this is one of the recipes that she could have, because it didn't have dairy, it didn't have eggs, it didn't have soy, it didn't have corn, it didn't have any of the allergens. So this coconut oil with maple syrup and cocoa powder, good pure cocoa powder, was something that she could have, and it was super delicious. So I've kind of kept it, and I make it occasionally when I'm having kind of a sweet tooth, but I don't want to have a lot of overly processed junk. And a lot of the chocolates you get at the store have soy lecithin in there as a thickener preservative type. A lot of them have corn syrup and just a lot of stuff, you know, like nut exposure, things like that. So it's been good. This recipe is kind of gonna stay in my rotation, and I hope it stays in yours. You'll have to comment below after you make this and let me know what you think, if it's gonna go in your rotation or not. So, all right, we are getting bubbly a little bit. Oh, let me see if I can show you guys. This is starting to bubble in there. So that's going to get a little thicker with that syrup. You want the syrup to boil a little bit. If you don't get it hot enough, the only thing that will happen will be that you need to refrigerate the filling more to keep it together, because it will melt really easily. All right, that smells delicious. I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to add approximately 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, or not powdered sugar, cocoa powder. This is very caked in there. I'm going to go ahead and kind of rough it up with my whisk. So for all of you guys who might be on a diet right now, as the new year has come, this is a not low calorie necessarily, but it is relatively healthy for when you do need a sweet something. And there you go, that's enough. It won't totally blow your diet, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, and it's super rich and delicious, so you don't need to eat like more than 1 or 2 bites of it. All right, so we're just going to whisk this around to get the lumps out. Stick our lid back on our cocoa powder. So this looks like a ganache or something, if you can see. So delicious. It's like a fudgy ganache. But there's no milk in it. It's amazing. Like, I would have sworn this was chocolate chips melted with hot cream, right? Like, man. So, I mean, you could probably use this as a ganache substitute, really. It is delicious. It's that good, guys. I'm not lying. So, so good. And then I like to add a little splash of vanilla. Let me see. The recipe that original recipe doesn't call for vanilla, but I love me a little splash of vanilla in there. So good. Okay, so now already I can tell this is gonna be delicious. Like, look how thick and creamy and smooth that is. Okay. When I tried this with the butter, it did not have this same consistency. I did kind of want to do that on video for you guys, but my life has not worked out to let me do that. I'm just kind of hopping on here real quick to get something in for you guys. My kids are all occupied. My daughter's having her screen time right now. My son's doing letter school, and my baby is taking his nap. So sorry, I've been a little bit amiss these last few weeks. I had wanted to get on here and do some holiday videos, but that just didn't happen. All right, here we go, guys. You guys will see, this is so good. Kind of shake it, even it out. You can double this recipe and get thicker. You can let this kind of air bubbles out, but look at how delicious and fudgy and smooth. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the fridge, and we are going to be back with a part 2. Please like, share, and subscribe if you can, and check out part 2 to see how these turn out. I'll show you how to dust them and roll them up with the powdered sugar and more cocoa powder, just like make that French type of truffle, and then you just store them in the fridge. It's really simple. It took me like 5 minutes or so to melt that together, and then you just wait for it to refrigerate and harden, and then you can eat it as is, or you can turn them into a little more fancy with the cocoa powder, powdered sugar, and or dip them and refrigerate again and give them. That makes it a little bit easier to gift to them if you're looking for a quick gift for a friend or family member, because the outer chocolate won't melt as quickly as this filling. All right, hope you're having a great time, and we'll see you soon in part 2. Thanks.